And we are live. Hello and welcome to Monday morning check-in. It is the 4th of July. It's just reminded me it's someone's birthday that I know, so I better send a birthday message. Hello, welcome. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name's Sabina. Monday morning check-ins are just a thing that started at the beginning of the crazy times, the awakening times, the magical times, the wonderful times, the shit fuckery times. And I just started doing them over on Instagram every Monday morning, saying, hey, how's everyone going? Just checking in to basically feel into how people are, what's going on, and do a bit of an impromptu Q&A. And that turned into nothing sort of the spontaneous aspect of it in terms of what we talk about didn't really go away, but the impromptu part went away in the fact that people wanted me to do them and kept asking me to do them. And every time I stopped them, people said, can you do your Monday morning check-ins again? And so now they're over here because Instagram is too difficult to try and get reach. I'm too shadow banned. It's too hard to get people to actually view it. So here we are on YouTube so that A, you can subscribe, B, you're going to know when I go live, and it's here easy for you to find and not sort of at the mercy of an algorithm. So welcome if this is your first time. Welcome if you're usually here. Today I'm going to talk. So if you came last Monday and then were like, where is she? I ended up going over onto Instagram because I had trouble logging onto here. YouTube wouldn't let me go live after talking about the fact that YouTube is the place to be because Instagram is so difficult to like navigate in these times. I couldn't go live. And so therefore, I went over to Instagram. So just to quickly inform you too, I have a new Instagram account. It's called Sabina Jackson _author because I'm not able to go live on my usual account. So if you go over there, you will find last week's, where I also talked about discernment, but I want to keep talking about it because it's so, so, so important. So I want to talk a little bit about discernment. I'm going to pull a couple of cards, do a little reading on the energies of July, which I haven't really felt into at all yet. I have no sort of feel on July at all. So I'd love to know as you hop on or if you're watching the replay, before I pull any cards, I'd love you to pop into the chat box. Always, of course, how are you? And what's your take on July? How are you feeling about July? What's the mood of it? What's your feel of it? Yeah, I'd love to know because for me, I don't know if I haven't left June energy yet, but I don't really have a kind of a feel on July yet. And then I'm going to do three. So whoever shouts out first, I'm going to do three, just sort of like mini readings for whoever would like one. Okay, so discernment. Now, here's how I want us to start thinking about planet Earth. Start thinking about it as though it's a big airport, right? As though the whole planet is a big airport. And why that's a really good analogy is because if you can hold that in your mind, then you can start to understand that we all come from different places and we're all going to different places. And this is why discernment is so important. You have your own onward journey that only you can fully guide yourself towards. It's going to be unique, right? There's going to be a unique kind of, what do we have when we travel? Not an agenda. I mean, an itinerary. There's a unique itinerary to you, right? You have a unique itinerary. And so you don't have to think about the onward journey in terms of, well, am I going to another planet? Am I ascending? If none of that resonates with you, let it go. You can simply think about all the journeys that happen from an airport, right? The fact that it's such a hub that so many people come to, and then they go off from there. You can think of that in terms of timelines, simply different timelines. So we arrive at the airport. And we've all come from different places. We've all come from different places. And then when you arrive there, hi, Marianne, then when you arrive there, you can't walk up to somebody else and say, right, where do we need to go? And yet that's what well, not everybody, that's what so many people are doing at this time. Right, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? What do I need to pack? What's it going to be like when I get there? You're asking other people all of these questions, and the people that you're asking aren't necessarily going to the same place that you are. And that's one of the issues with not having discernment, not having your own discernment about. So, how does discernment look? Okay, so having no discernment means you walk into the airport and you just blindly follow. You just blindly follow behind whoever kind of looks good, feels good, seems to, talk a good talk, seems to kind of have it all together, right? So you've got the people who've got the nice luggage. They look like they know where they're going. They're walking with a purpose. And so you go, okay, I'm going to follow them. What happens though is you don't know where they're going. They are not necessarily leading you astray. In that situation, you're leading yourself astray if you're following them with no discernment, because you're going to end up at their kind of departure lounge. You're going to end up at their gate, and you're going to end up on their plane. And then you're going to be halfway through that journey, and you're going to go, "This is not where I'm meant to be going." Okay. Now, I actually don't believe that anything is terminal or permanent, right? I believe that at that point in time, you probably have to wait, get to the destination, and then you go, okay, I'm actually going to take a different plane from here. But again, that's going to require your discernment. Otherwise, what you're going to do is constantly be on journeys that are not your own. This is a good analogy for the whole of life. You have come here from different places, you are going to different places, but if you do not have discernment, you're going to constantly be on journeys that are not your own. Do you feel this? Have you done this in your life? Have you been on journeys that kind of seem good at the start, and then you feel like this is not my own? This can be relationships that you're in, jobs you've taken, the whole way you've lived your life. You could, at some point in time, I would hazard a guess, everybody has stopped and thought, this is not my journey. Or if you haven't had that amount of insight, you've thought, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel good. You've ended up maybe with anxiety or with depression or with an illness, physical symptoms, whatever, because you're not on the right journey for you. So what discernment would look like is that you arrive at the airport and you can look to other people if you're not sure how to navigate the airport. If you're not sure how to get onto your plane, then what you can do is you can observe how people are navigating the airport. Right. So you might sit there for a while and you might realize, oh, hey, they're looking up at a board and that board seems to be giving them information for where to go. Okay, let me go to the board. Or, hey, they kind of, they go to this counter and they check their luggage in, and then they get a ticket and then they walk on. Let me do that, right? You can observe and you can be guided, and you can have somebody kind of model and show you how to navigate the airport. But unless you know that that person is going to the same place that you are going to, do not follow exactly what they're doing. Just observe, do they know what they're doing? Okay, let me observe them. Again, this is where discernment comes in. So discernment is where you observe something, or you hear something, or you read something, or you just feel it, and you sit with it for a moment, and you know the old, how does that resonate with you? What does that mean? It means that you run it by your own guidance system. I did talk about this on the Instagram live last week. You have a compass inbuilt in you. The thing is, though, because from the time we arrive on the planet, from the time we arrive at the airport, we actively get told to suppress how we feel. We actively start to be taught to go against ourselves from other people who went through the same experience. They arrived, they were taught to go against themselves. Now they have children, they teach them to go against themselves, or, or as part of their job as teachers, we do it in all walks of our life. So because we've been told to go against ourselves so readily, because we've been taught to suppress that navigational system that we have, which the emotions are a big part of that, right? You'll have a compass setting and then you'll have your emotions, and your emotions are the tool that helps you to know whether you are going in the direction of your compass setting or not, right? But because we get taught to suppress that, what happens is, like, so last week I said, that compass would be like just covered in dust and full of spider webs, and like it's like you've left it, in a dusty old attic for years. That's what most people's would probably currently look like. So then if I say to you, use your discernment, you're going to go, I don't even know what that is, right? And if you're at that stage where you're like, I don't even know what that is, then it's really important that you don't just start following people beyond observing how, beyond observing when they arrive at the airport, how are they navigating this place? How do they navigate this place? And then let me start using that to navigate this place, and then let me see how it feels, right? As you get more confident, as you get more comfortable. So how do you improve your discernment? You improve your discernment by regularly asking yourself how you feel. How do I feel? How does this make me feel? Does this feel good? Do I want more of this? How does this feel in my gut? How does this feel in my heart? How does this feel in my whole body? When I do this, how do I feel afterwards? When I spend time with this person, how do I feel afterwards? Start to look at whether things fill you up. Start to look at whether you walk away from a conversation with someone inspired, whether you finish an activity or you come home from having had an experience and you are inspired. Doesn't mean you mightn't be tired. If it's been a physical activity, you might go, oh, wow, I'm tired, but there's tired in a really good way. There's that I've just done exercise and I'm knackered and I feel fantastic way, right? But do I feel inspired or do I feel depleted? Do I feel good about where I'm heading, or do I feel full of fear? Do I feel full of angst? Do I feel full of like, oh my God, it's all going to shit, right? Now, I have to put a little clause there, because if you're tuned to, oh my God, it's all going to shit, probably no matter who you spend time with, and in fact, people who would actually inspire you to be able to go beyond that might trigger the fuck out of you, right? Because if your ego is going, oh my God, it's all going to hell, it's all terrible, and someone says to you, and someone comes along and they seem like really light and they seem like quite joyful, that can trigger your ego into either going, you know what, they haven't got a clue, they don't know what's coming, like, or just like, I just want to get away from that person. So let's just keep it with the discernment part. Just keep tuning in. How am I feeling? When I read this, does it inspire me to feel like I am more than I thought I was? Does it inspire me to feel like I am capable of more than what my fear is trying to convince me of? Does it inspire me to think differently, to expand my mind, to open my heart, to have compassion, to broaden my understanding? Or when I listen to this person's teachings, or when I spend time with this person, or when I read this person's stuff, or when I watch this movie or whatever, does it make me go, does it make me want to retreat? Does it make me feel hopeless? Does it make me feel more frightened? Does it make me feel like humans are terrible and, they're just like the wrath of the earth? Like, this is how you fine tune your discernment. Okay. Let me know in the comments when you come in how you are, and let me know if this is resonating with you, if this is making sense, if this feels right, if this feels good. Hi, Haruka, how are you? So does it make sense, the examples that I'm giving about how you start to tune into your discernment? And so that, and if you haven't been here from the start, I'm using an airport analogy. So the airport as planet Earth and the activity inside it as your life. So that when you arrive at the airport and we go through that state of amnesia that we do when we are in this matrix simulation, when we are caught in the wheel of a sort of karmic death and rebirth, when we're caught in that and we go through that amnesia every time we're reborn, well, it's, we lose it more and more the longer we're here. So you get to the airport and suddenly you don't know how to navigate the airport. A lack of discernment would be to blindly follow whoever looks like they know where they're going. But you're going to possibly end up on a journey that is not your own. You're going to possibly navigate that whole entire airport, eating at a place you didn't want to eat at, exchanging for like currency that you're not going to be able to use where you're going, buying a heap of stuff, all of that. If you fully observe how someone else navigates the airport, you're not necessarily going to do it your way. But if you allow yourself to sit for a little while and you allow yourself to find someone that resonates with you, your discernment says, I like the way they're doing that. I like the way they look. I like the way they feel. I like how they're talking. I like how I feel when I'm in that energy. I like how it reminds me to tune into myself and my own navigation. If I was to walk up to them and say, hey, do you know where I'm going? The first thing they would ask me is, hey, do you know how to get where I'm going? The first thing they would ask me is, where are you going? Where do you want to go? Right? So this is how you can fine tune your discernment. What is it that has stopped us from having discernment? Is that suppression of emotions, seeing emotions as a weakness, not being taught about the fact that we each have all of our navigational tools internally inside of us, and the matrix and the inverted programs having taught us to look outside, look to me, look to medicine, look to science, look to all of these things to tell you why you feel this way, how you're meant to feel, where you're meant to be going, what your actual journey is, rather than, okay, I can use those things as guidance. And if they resonate with me, I can take them in and I can take what feels good and I can leave what doesn't. And I use them to activate my own internal guidance, my own internal compass. I use them to connect myself with my own emotions so that they can start to be my greatest guidance, my greatest navigational tool can be my emotions, because my emotions are going to connect me to that internal compass dial that is set to where I'm meant to go. And what that looks like in a day-to-day life is not going against ourselves. Yes, we've been taught it. Yes, we're encouraged it. Yes, depending on the different cultures as to how difficult it is to go against what is expected or what you've been taught, or what kind of guilt can be used, from the family of like, oh, you're breaking my heart, you're killing your mother, you're killing your grandmother with your choices and your decisions. I mean, I've heard people say to me, like, they've been told, like, you're actually bringing a, what was the word? Like a hex, but I can't think of like the other word of a hex. You're actually like bringing a hex on the whole entire village because you're gay. So, your degree of difficulty about having to use your own discernment and not go against yourself is going to be varied, right? It's going to be very varied. But this is how you really start to live in alignment, using your discernment, not going against yourself. And so as you do that, as you practice it, it's going to get so easy for you to feel into like, nah. It's going to get to the point where it's so clear that I've spoken to a couple of clients this week and they have had big stuff come up that they haven't had for a long time. And they're feeling like, well, so does that mean like I'm going backwards? Or does that mean like I'm not doing the work properly? No, it's actually because that's how your body talks to you when you go against yourself. And because you haven't been going against yourself, because you've been making choices that are so much more aligned with who you are, when you then do go against yourself, it feels like a big smack across the face. It feels like a big, oh my God. And it hits you big time because it's like, oh shit, I haven't done this for such a long time. This is how bad this feels. Yes, with certain teachers make me feel small. Yep. People that feel small are going to pass that on. People that are coming from their ego are going to use their ego, speak to us through their ego, teach us through their ego, model through their ego, and activate our ego to feel the same way as theirs does, which is how we kind of continue the programming on. When someone looks like they are spiritually advanced, I automatically look up to them. So start to use your discernment then, Haruka, in a way other than appearance, right? Don't look at them maybe while they're speaking, and start to open your hearing. How does this resonate with my hearing? Or how does this resonate with my heart? Maybe more so than like switch off the appearance thing and maybe start to activate the other senses, and they might all be aligned and you might go, yep, great. Or one of them might start to speak to you and go, no, there's something there. My heart's not in this. When I close my eyes and listen to it, actually there's something about their voice that's a bit like not right, because then you're taking away, because here's the thing, 2020 really taught me, forget the messenger and just listen to the message. Because what happened in 2020 was that all the people I used to listen to, all the people that I thought I fully resonated with, and I did up to that point in time, who was someone I could go to for guidance, who was someone I could go to for advice, who was someone like public people, who was someone that I could go, okay, what's her take on this? What's his take on this? I want to know. Because, oh my God, the whole world went upside down. The whole world went topsy-turvy. And all the people that used to speak sense to me kind of were crazy, had lost their motherfucking minds. And people who, like, people who used to come on the TV or on the radio or anywhere, and I would immediately turn off because I'm like, oh my God, started to speak sense to me. And so what I realized early on in 2020 was, you know what, forget who the messenger is, open up, drop that judgment, forget who the messenger is, listen to the message. Does the message resonate with me? And that's the switch I needed to make, because I stopped caring about who tells me something that helps to expand me, or who tells me something that helps to give me an insight on something, or who even now when someone goes, so-and-so's controlled opposition, I don't really care about that as much as I care about, okay, if I'm going to have a listen to this with great discernment and pick out of it the parts that I want to go and take my own journey with and look into myself, then I'm still getting something from that. And I'm not really into the labels and the boxes and the whole thing. And I'm not really into like going through life completely like with no trust at all. I trust life. I trust the process, right? I trust what happens at the airport when I use my discernment and I make sure that I'm the one in charge of my journey. When I make sure that I'm using my own itinerary and I'm using my own guidance and I'm connected to my emotions, then I don't care what the person looks like who tells me to go to gate 14. I just need the information to go to gate 14. I don't care what the person looks like that's checking me in. I don't care what their political beliefs are. I don't care whether they believe in God. I don't care about any element of this person in that interaction other than the interaction I'm currently having with them, and I'm discerning that I am receiving the information from them that I need at that time. Does that make sense? Oh, sorry, I meant what they talk about sounds like they're spiritually advanced. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, forget the whole, I mean, we've spoken about this before. Forget the whole hierarchy. Get rid of the hierarchy. Just literally go, right, no hierarchy. We're all here, same place. We're all at the airport at the same time. We're all going to use the toilet. We're all going to need something to eat and something to drink. We're all going to have to wait for the plane, and we're all going to get on the plane. Forget the hierarchy and simply start feeling into, how does this message feel for me? Do I even agree with it? So let yourself do that, Haruka. Let yourself be your own, whether you agree or not, rather than feeling like you're listening to a father figure or a mother figure or a grandmother or a grandfather or a teacher. Just go, right, we are two equals, and this person is sharing information with me, and I am going to run it through my own guidance system, and I'm going to ask myself, do I agree with this? Is this been my experience? Does this help me? Do I believe in this? And allow yourself to say no without even it meaning anything. It doesn't mean I can no longer follow this person. It doesn't mean, well, there goes them because I don't agree. We're seeing that. We're seeing that in the cancel culture. The cancel culture is say one wrong word, make one wrong gesture on your lives, do this accidentally in a live, and you're out. Right. The mob's moving on. Leave them behind. Now, that is without a doubt a complete lack of discernment. That is a mob coming into that airport as a big mob, looking around going, right, where are we going? Where are we going? Find the leader, find the people to listen to, and then wait and spot when they fuck up, and then run to the next one. And that is not discernment. That is not discernment. Spending our time and our days looking for where people are slipping up, or looking for where people are revealing their true self. Do we need to do it? Well, yes, of course. Of course, you keep an open perspective about changing your mind. You're allowed to do it. You're allowed to follow someone and then go, now I don't follow you. You're allowed to go, hey, I really, no, they don't feel right to me anymore. There's so many people that I have kind of like followed. When I say followed, I mean listen to podcasts or listen to, YouTube things or whatever, right? In the last 2 years, and I don't anymore. There are so many where I kind of one day went, yeah, nah, not feeling this anymore. When that happens, we can just honor it. That's discernment. Beautiful. There's discernment 101 in your backpack, and on you go on your journey. We don't have to make sure the whole world knows, do not listen to this person. Now, I follow some of the accounts that do that, and I have had my eyes opened, like, yes, for sure. And I'm grateful of some of the work that they do. But as my own individual, I don't do that work. So I'm not here. It's not how I'm going to spend my life. I'm going to spend my life getting from the door, the entry to the airport, and onto the plane. I'm not going to, because this is the other thing. You will get caught. You will miss your plane. You will miss your plane. Now, again, will you miss it permanently forever? No, I don't feel like that's the case. But you will prolong your journey. You will prolong your journey. Like just waiting, like in the departure lounge, because, oh, I better make sure people know about that, and I better make sure people know about that, and I better make sure, okay, yeah, that serves a purpose. If that is your calling, great, do it. If that's not your calling, worry less about who, what, where, how, and just listen into, okay, does this resonate with me? If not, move on. It's kind of like if we were to turn the lights off. So I had someone say to me recently, look, every door I turn to lately is closed. She thought that was really terrible. I didn't think that was terrible. I thought that was great, clear messaging of where she's not meant to be, right? So imagine like you're in a big, long corridor and maybe there's, like bits that lead off. Maybe it's not one big, long, straight line because life isn't. And the light's off. And if the light was off, you would have to feel your way around, right? And you get to a door and you open it and you step in and then you stand there for a minute. Imagine that you can't see what's in there and you have to feel it. And so you stand there and you go, how do I feel in this room? And if it doesn't feel right, you close the door and you keep moving on. If it does feel right, then you start to walk in that direction. And now you're in that corridor and now you're feeling along that line. And now you're going, how does that feel, right? This is discernment. Discernment is starting to feel and navigate your own way and not just holding onto the back of someone else's coat because it's dark and you can't see and you're frightened and you're not sure how to navigate it, but all you're going to be doing, and how many people live their life just holding on to someone else's coat? I mean, there's whole family lineages, this whole cultures just holding on to the coat of the person in front of them. And there'll be like millions just holding on to the coat. You've seen that during this time. Instead of navigating their own way, just holding on to the coat, and whoever's at the front just leads everybody. And then they can say, you led me astray. Well, no, what if they were just walking their path, but you led yourself astray? Like, let's take some more responsibility around that too. What if you led yourself astray? What if they were just doing what they're doing, telling you their truth, talking about what they think, and because you were walking along holding onto their coattail, you led yourself astray? Let go. Let go of holding onto someone else's path. Let go of everybody and just go, okay, yes, you can have guidance, but like I said, observe maybe a little bit more about how they navigate the airport and about how they find their way to where they're going. Well, sure, allow people to teach you how to read the itinerary, allow people to teach you how to like that's what we're doing right now, is me saying to you, like, tune into your emotions. They're really powerful, like the fundamental spiritual basis of things. And the teachings and the, hey, I've learned this, let me share it with you, is brilliant. We need to all be doing it more. We should all be doing it more. Like, that's how we're going to lead each other home, remembering we're all going to do it slightly differently, and we're all going to slightly different destinations. Don't let your ego freak out about that and go, does that mean I'm going to lose everybody? Does that mean I have to leave the planet? Does that mean they're all going to stay here? Doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't mean anything. Timelines, you can have the same people on different timelines. You're just actually going to know them on a higher level. Okay. If you're on a trajectory of higher timelines, the people that are on that timeline will be there. Some won't. And you'll realize they couldn't be there. They can't be here. They're on their own journey. It's okay. But people that you're here with now will come with you also. Some will come with you on that timeline, and you will actually have better interactions and better relationships than you've ever had before. Sue, hi Sue. I have found myself coming back to me for information. Love that. One person I have gravitated to is Zach Bush, such a gentle soul. I feel exhausted with it all. So Zach is somebody I've followed very heavily at the start and doesn't really resonate with me anymore. That is the perfect example of let no one else's truth be your own. Let no one else's truth be your own, because you have to feel your own way. And that is like, is that not just the best example? And great. Listen to Zach. He has beautiful stuff. We can all benefit greatly from listening to what he does. He started to feel a little bit off for me, and I stopped listening. That's not anybody else's truth, and that's not even the truth, right? There is not necessarily anything wrong with Zach. I just stopped listening. It's the same with a few people. And with some others that didn't resonate with me at the start, they resonate with me now. It's with some of them, I come and go. With some of them, I'm like, you know what? We're not heading to the same place. And if you're exhausted with it all, then that, I don't know if you were here, Sue, when I was saying like a really good way to feel into begin to really activate your discernment is, how do I feel when I'm around that? How do I feel when I expose myself to that? How do I feel when I listen to that? How do I feel with that? Now, if you are removing yourself from some things, but you're still exhausted, then you know that now it's here. The exhaustion is coming from how you're processing it, how you're viewing it, the exhaustion is coming through the fact that your ego is most likely exhausting you in its fear or in its hopelessness or in its need to continue to still seek out things that don't resonate, or in its fear of letting go of things that don't resonate. Because this is, and also, of course, you have to ask, are you allowing yourself to rest enough? Because this is a journey that is full of letting go. It's full of letting go. It's full of realizing. It's full of awareness. It's full of learning and expanding. And that is tiring. That is tiring. And you need to allow yourself to rest. And what will help you in that is to go, how is it in here? Does it feel good to come home? Does it feel good to come home? So ask that regularly. Does it feel good to come home? So the earth is an airport. Think of it as an airport. We all come from different places. We're all going to different places. That doesn't have to mean planets. That doesn't have to mean alien or anything like that. If that doesn't resonate with you, it can simply mean experiences, right? And when we get there, discernment means that I don't just blindly follow the people who look like they know where they're going when I don't know where they're going, and I don't know if they're going to the same place I am. If I spend enough time with them, then yeah, and we figure out, hey, we're on the same plane. Beautiful. Let's go get a coffee. Let's go get, can you check in while I do this? Okay, great. I'll reserve our seat while you go and get right, great. We're going to the same place. And then there might even come a time when you go, and now we're not going to the same place. And that's the part that can be difficult. We were going to the same place. And then your ego might say, you need to let her know, or you need to let him know he's now going to the wrong place. And that's not your call, because you don't know their itinerary and you are not their navigational system. You are not someone else's navigational system. You are here to activate your own. You are here to model. You are here to speak your truth. You are here to share your wisdom. You are here to go, hey, here's what I've learned. You can put that in a book. You can do it on a YouTube. You can do it over coffee with a friend. You can do it wherever you want to do it. Stand up and go, hey, here's what I've learned. And then allow the people who resonate with that to come to you. And allow the people to walk past and shake their head and go, what an idiot, because they're going to. Because that's how it works. That's how it works. We need to stop the judgment. We need to just stop the judgment of what everybody's doing, because we have not got our own navigational tools very fine-tuned. And this is the time for it. It's the 11th hour. This is the time for it. Thank you. Yes, it makes sense. I found that I am easily pulled into these spiritual teachers' masters. Do you know what, Haruka? I want you to get a pen and paper, and I want you to write down, what if I am one myself? And what if I am the only guidance I need? What if I am one myself? And what if I am the only guidance I need? And just allow that. Now, write that down now, or watch the replay, because in 2 minutes I'll probably have completely forgotten what I just said. And just allow that to be something that is not from your ego, or that is not inflating, or that is not who the hell do you think you are, which only ever your ego would say, because it is frightened of who you actually are. And so just allow that to exist as a truth, and then allow yourself to be an equal in the room. Allow yourself to be amongst companions, and allow yourself to be amongst in a community, and amongst in a fellowship, rather than this hierarchical thing. Sue, I watched one of Zach's videos and I just sobbed. Yes, took me by surprise, gave myself permission to release, forgive, and heal. Beautiful. Yeah, he definitely has a very beautiful, beautiful manner. I mean, given where he's coming from, and like he's a beautiful one for the medical community, like, for sure. Absolutely. And yes, permission to release, forgive, and heal is required whilst in the airport to get on the plane, right? They're the things that I talk about when I'm talking about becoming unbound. That's how you become unbound, because they are the things that would anchor you to the airport and not allow you to actually take off, right? So I love that. Okay, I'm going to pull a couple of cards on July energy. Please put in any questions that you have about what I talked about today, about discernment. This is the other thing I did want to say to you. I was trying to remember it when I did the Insta live last week, and I couldn't. I don't know if you remember, I was saying dumb and something, dumb and something. So just know the airport has inbuilt things to stop us from remembering who we are, to stop us from activating our discernment, and to stop us from tuning into that internal navigation, right? The airport, the planet, the earth, probably not the earth, the overlay, the matrix, has inbuilt things that kind of stop the onward journey, keep you at the airport in the way that it currently is, keep you feeling like you can't leave, keep you forgetting how to find your way, keep you stuck, right? And so it's important to know. So I want you to ask yourself, and do this over the next week, and let me know next week what you've come up with. In what ways do you dumb and numb yourself? Because that is what interferes with our discernment. So why don't we do discernment again next time, and talk about all the ways in which we dumb and numb ourselves. Now, there's all the ways in which we're encouraged, for sure. Absolutely. Taught to, encouraged to, modeled to, through ads, through programs, through health directives, for sure. But start to think about you yourself. In what ways do I numb and dumb myself down? Because that is how you are interfering with your own ability to access your discernment. So let's move next week. I feel like this is a whole thing. Let's move next week to, okay, how am I actively currently standing in the way of improving my discernment, of activating my discernment? Okay, so if you're like, maybe listen back to this, maybe listen to the replay, think about, listen to, okay, this is what discernment is. This is why we don't have the discernment that we have. But where am I now actively keeping myself numbed and dumbed down? The numbing is what dumbs us down. The numbing is what, I'm not calling you dumb. I'm not saying you have to walk around and go, where have I been dumb this week? Oh, I've been dumb because I didn't see that person was actually not very good, or I was dumb because I forgot this person's name. This is not what I'm talking about. Have a look where you numb yourself. In what ways do you numb yourself? And when you're doing that, recognize, I'm currently dumbing myself down, slowing myself down in not a great way, contracting, and not allowing discernment to flow, not allowing myself to actually be able to feel in, to see what resonates. to feel into how this feels for me. So therefore, I would be opening doors up, and even though I don't like what's in there, could be spending 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 15 lifetimes, 18,000 lifetimes in that room, because I kept numbing and dumbing, and therefore I couldn't figure out how to get back out the door. I couldn't figure out that it was literally just the wrong room. Let's talk about that next week. So I'm just going to make myself a note and put in anything else you want me to talk about next week too, with the thing of numb and dumb, wrong room, is it me? Let me know about anything else. Thank you, Sabina. So don't we need spiritual teachers and masters? Yeah. Well, do we need? Yes, we have them. They exist, but they're not necessarily the people you're looking to. So I just want you to know, what if you are a spiritual teacher? What if you are a master, which really just means teacher, someone that's mastered something? Master means I have mastered that. So I can be a master baker, or I can be a master builder. Master is not just spiritual. Master can be physical. I can be a master bath runner, which I am. I could be a master cup of tea maker. Can be a master chocolatier, right? Master just means I have mastered the art of this. I have mastered the art of this. So yes, we have masters who have mastered the art of things, who show us and model to us and guide us how to master the art of that, if that is what we wish to do. Are they necessarily above us or beneath us or whatever in terms of the spiritual development? Who knows? We don't know. So take it off the table. It doesn't matter. Do we want spiritual teachers? Yes. But a teacher is not, if I put a 4-year-old in a room with a 44-year-old teacher, that 4-year-old is possibly much wiser than the teacher. And yet the teacher will still teach the child some things. We do not know the soul of the 4-year-old. We do not know the soul of the 44-year-old. And in fact, they could be the same soul. It could be the same soul teaching another aspect of that soul, so that there can be in more alignment. All of this can be true. So that's just what I want you to put on the table, Harika. I want you to go, you know what, all of this could be true. I could be talking to billions of aspects of myself. There is most likely only one of us here. I can't know it all. I don't have any desire to know it all in this vessel. So others know things that I don't know. And I'll just master what I want to master. I would love you to talk about self-regard, self-respect next week. Okay. I mean, I feel like I talk about that every time I open my mouth. So I think I would like you to get a very specific thing that you're thinking about, or a couple of very specific things, and then I can unpack them. I reckon that's going to be easier than just an open-ended, because really self-regard and self-respect, like I talk about all the time. So if you can DM them to me on Instagram, or you can email them to me. Think of maybe like 1 or 2 very specific things where you're like, okay, this has me caught, and we can unpack them. It's an outrageously courageous person who steps into discernment. Absolutely. And yet it is vital. And yet none of it works without it, because without it, you are not even on your own journey. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ladies, for your comments. Anyone else watching, put in any questions or any comments that you have. I'm going to pick a couple of cards for July, and then I'm going to do 3 readings. So first come, first serve. Put your name in. If you would like a little, like just a card pulled, maybe an oil and a card, put your name in. And if you want it on something specific, just put like 1 word on like where you might want guidance, or if you just want general guidance, just put general. Okay, so I'll just take the first 3 that just pop their name in order, if 3 of you would like that. Okay, so July. Let's have a look. Okay, Haruka. Okay, Haruka, are you saying yes to the card as well, or are you saying yes to sending me a couple of things? So I'll hold that for Haruka while you put in and Sue. And one more or two more if Haruka's... Okay, July. July energy. What do we need to know about July? What will we experience what will be the opportunities in July? Portals, opportunities. What will be the opportunities available to us? Two cards. First one, second one. This is everybody. This opportunity will be available to everybody. Trust and thrive. Okay, this is from Angels and Ancestors by Kyle Gray. Trust and thrive, right? So July will give you the opportunity to trust, and from within that trust to thrive and to bask in joy and light. Now, this is summer. Obviously here, Southern Hemisphere, it's not summer, but they're saying it's always summer if you want it to be, right? Bask in joy and light. So July has the opportunity for all of us to trust and thrive and to bask in joy and light. Is there anything else we need? Nope, should be self-explanatory, they're saying. Should be self-explanatory and going to look differently for everybody. So that's actually a great one with discernment. And maybe that's why I keep getting told, talk about discernment. Because how will you trust and thrive without discernment? And how can you bask in joy and light when you don't even know what brings you your joy and light? When everybody's joy and light. Look at me and my love for winter. I come alive in winter. The other day, I'm in one of my local shops. It was a very foggy morning on the mountain. So, of course, I was in it, frolicking fully in my joy and light, beaming in like a full grey fog. And then I'm buying groceries, and this lovely man who I know quite well, and he says, he said, how was your morning? And I said, I've just been up on the mountain having the best time. And he said, oh, that's right, you love winter, don't you? Which he does not. And he said, I suppose you love horror films too. And I said, no, actually, I don't love horror films. And foggy forests do not remind me of horror films. They remind me of magical fairy worlds. They remind me of like magical beings and portals and light and fun and childlike frolicking, like freedom and like really being alive. So it just goes to show you, you do not want to have somebody else tell you, oh yeah, you know, foggy mountains are horror films. Like, and you have to wonder why so many of you have had that connection, and if it's on purpose. So you need to know what your own joy and light is. Anything else for July? Yes. Okay. And oil? Okay. Okay. Foggy forests are indeed magical, Haruka, and people who can't see that, that's totally okay if forests are not your thing, but maybe you have been taught purposefully not to see the magic in a foggy forest and to be frightened of it. Okay, this came up in a session this week. It's called guarkwood. I think it's pronounced guark. It's G-U-I. Actually, let me write it. G-U-I-A-C wood. Essence, so that you remember what that was about. And here's the message for us. Okay, so the message of the oil is cherish, but specifically for us, for the collective for July. Okay, Cherish the present moment and all the learning, wisdom, and experience that it is bringing you. Can you see the lesson? Cherish the present moment and all the learning, wisdom, and experience that it is bringing you. Can you see the lesson? So they are the July opportunities, right? And I can really feel into that thriving and that joy and light. I have been in so much joy recently, and things that was before anything kind of was different in the outside. It's definitely there for you to tap into, and trust is the thing that will. Trust is the bridge. Trust is what will give you access to that for sure. And then can you see the lessons of this time? Are you putting the work in? Are you getting the steps? Are you laying that foundation so that you can actually access things without the outside needing to be different? And so that you become more and more free. And so that you're able to navigate that airport so beautifully and go, you know what, even if no one else here is on the same plane, I know where I'm heading. I feel into it. I trust it, and I go with that. Yeah, it's very powerful, like you said, Sue. Discernment. Okay, so Sue, Haruka, and Iola. Those three. I'll start with Sue. Parents. Two of these. An oil. No. Okay. Two of these. Why does three want to come out, Sue, when really it should just be two? Is there a complete lack of boundaries and a stepping over and like a and hang on, and there's this, and hang on, and there's this? So do we really need three? But we do really need, hang on, there's also this. So there is also something more, Sue. It's not just a lack of boundaries. There really is something more. There is something that is unhealed, and there is something that needs to be talked about, and there is something that needs to be looked into. It's not just this lack of like letting it go. Now that feels like it's more from them. You'll know who that is. So I'm going to read out to you these words, Sue, and then I want you to see how they resonate and where the lesson is and where the guidance is. So the first card is, so these are the Rose Oracle from Rebecca Campbell. The first card is the crowning. And the words are initiation, thresholds, birth, rebirth, a seat at the table. Initiation, thresholds, birth, rebirth, a seat at the table. We're at 58 minutes, Sue. If you want to, I won't kind of spend too long on each one. Just watch the replay, come back to this if you want to write down exactly what it says. So this is really about you having a seat at the table, and this is an initiation for you. Whatever you're going through with them, Sue, is an initiation for you for your onward journey. Lots of lessons, lots of lessons. I've now taken on the role of caretaker. Yeah, that's going to be fraught with triggering things. The fertile void is the second card. Inner winter, rest for your exhaustion, patience, potency, and secret beginnings. Secret beginnings, initiation, a seat at the table, and secret beginnings. There's something very big happening for you, Sue, that you're working out through them about your onward journey. And the third card is the anointed. Answer the call, leadership, empowerment, soul gifts. answer the call, leadership, empowerment, soul gifts. So we've got initiation, a seat at the table, secret beginnings, and soul gifts. Is happening through your role, and it's, stop calling it caretaker, they're saying. It's something different. Just start calling it your initiation. It's my initiation. Your initiation. Okay, Sue, I hope that's helpful. I think have a listen back and really have a listen to what's being said, because there was quite a lot in that and you mightn't have been able to take it all in. Listen back, go back to 58 minutes and have a listen and see what it really says to you. I'm loving them both with open eyes and heart. Thank you. Yeah, beautiful. And you have the deck. Yeah, great. Great. But listen back, because listen to, you might hear something you're not hearing this time around. So that's okay. All right, Sue. So Haruka, yes, would love a card, this dancer girl. Okay. Haruka. One and an oil. Okay. This is the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light deck. Awakening. Energetic upgrades. A new way of being. Integration. So this is you. This card is definitely you, Haruka. That floaty, beautiful light energy, and just the trusting that you just held and flowing along. Held and flowing along, like in your silks, just held. Just the trust you must have to do that is incredible. So really tap into that. Energetic upgrades, a new way of being, and integration. Okay, now there's also an oil that's going to help a little bit to anchor that in. I feel like is the right word. Okay, everlasting. Okay, let's have a look. Expanding grace. Oh, how beautiful. Expanding grace. Expanding grace. Energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration, and expanding grace. That's the messages for you, Haruka. I hope that's helpful. Sit with it and let it, especially the visual of this card. So we're at about a minute, Haruka, when we started with you, if you wanted to come back and re-listen and re-watch. And Iola, I'm assuming the thank you means a card. Let me just clarify that. I don't want to do one if you don't want one. Can you just confirm that you want a card? And that you weren't just saying thank you for today? Okay, maybe she's not here anymore. Thank you for the cards. You're welcome, Haruka. Am I seeing all the way to the bottom? Okay. Iola, just let me know if you are still here, if that was a thank you. Yes, I'd like a card, or if that was just a thank you for today. And everybody else, thank you for being here as usual. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you. This topic, I think, is huge. It's why next week will be week 3 on it. Discernment is really everything. We cannot navigate ourselves to where we're going without it. We've been actively turned away from it, actively dumbed down and numbed down. And I would love you to spend this week thinking about how you do that. Okay, so really have a feel into where do I numb myself? And when you're doing it, especially when you're in the activity that it is, whether it's alcohol, whether it's shopping, whether it's, whatever, whether it's the gym, whatever, then start to think, okay, in what am I currently running away from? What would be available here for me if I let myself feel this instead of running away? Those messages resonate. I'm not exactly sure how they relate to the dancer girl, but I'll feel into it. I feel like it relates to you, Haruka, and you will be the person who shifts this energy. I feel like when you step into that, what the card said to you, this dynamic will shift greatly. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Have a lovely week. Have a whatever week you're having. Honor whatever week you're having. And I'm excited about those July energies. Okay, so any questions for next week? We're going to talk on discernment again. So think about it during the week and, email them to me. Sabina Jackson consciousliving@gmail.com or DM them to me on Instagram, which I'm now at Sabina Jackson _author. I am hoping that once I shut down Sabina Jackson Conscious Living, which I will do once I shift over all the saved stories, I'm hoping that I can then change the name to Sabina Jackson Conscious Living again. Because that's the name of the what's the name of my business, it's the name of the website, it's the name of this channel, so it just makes things a little bit easier. All right, you're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Much love and have a lovely week.